My name is Michelle. I am your emotional resilience coach, and today we are going to be chatting about acceptance. Please hit like, subscribe, the notifications button, and of course, I always enjoy hearing from you, so please do leave a comment. So today I'm going to chat a little bit about acceptance and why it is important. There seems to be a lot of controversy around that word, and it seems to have quite a large knee-jerk reaction for a lot of people. A lot of people hear the word acceptance and it gets their back up. They will say things to me like, how can I accept this? And acceptance is not condoning. We're not condoning anybody's past behavior. We're not condoning the abuse, the trauma, the ugly, the mean-spiritedness. We're not condoning any of it. Acceptance and condoning is not the same thing. What we're doing is we're acknowledging it for what it is, that it happened, and we're making peace with it. Because when we fight with our past, when we argue with our past, I think it was Byron Katie who said, when you fight with your past, you're only going to lose 100% of the time. And so I think what she means by that for me is don't could have, should have, would have, fantasize about it being any different. Because what we do is we set ourselves up. So we've got the reality here, and we've got our fantasy here of what it should have looked like. And all this in between, this is what causes us the pain. This is what causes us the suffering. It's our expectation of it should have been different. All right? And that's why I say acceptance and making peace with it is so very important. And there's no point in arguing with it. There's no point in fighting about it. There's no point in doing any of that. And so to begin with, you need to again be really honest and acknowledge what happened. Acknowledge those emotions that come up. When you start allowing those emotions to come up and you acknowledge them and you validate them, you make space for yourself to be better accepting, to be better at making peace with what happened. This is a journey. This is not a one day you're going to sit down and decide, okay, I'm making peace with this, and then in the morning you're going to be okay. It's not going to work like that. This is going to be something, a goal that you're working towards consistently. So when thoughts come up like, oh, it should have been like this, or oh, I wish that it never happened, or oh, I wish I'd never met this person, or oh, I wish that never happened in my life. When those thoughts come up, you can stop and you can question those thoughts, and you can say, but it did. All right, it did happen. It is what it is. And I need to make peace with it. I hate it. It is what it is. For years and years and years, I would hear that phrase and I would cringe. And I still every now and again go, because it doesn't always sit so comfortably with me. But I think the intent behind that saying is don't fight. Don't make war. Pick your battles. All right, let it be. I think so often we end up just disappointing ourselves, fighting with ourselves, hurting ourselves, and prolonging the suffering when we wish things could have been different. Oh, I just wish it would have been otherwise. There was a reason. There's a reason it was the way it was. There's a reason those people showed up in your life the way they did. There were lessons. There was growth. And I know that perhaps for some people it's too soon, but one day you will look back and you will see and you will understand that this happened the way it happened for you to be the person you are today, which opens up the question of who do you want to be? Please do refer back to my other videos. I have videos on brain dumping. I have videos on feeling your feelings. I have videos on codependency. And this is a theme that comes up regularly for me with myself and with my clients. You've got to check in with yourself often and ask, who do I want to be? What is the best version of me? What does that look like? How can I take what I've been through and make this a strength in my life? All right, how do I turn these weaknesses into strengths? This is something you're going to want to come back to fairly regularly. So why do we do it? We do it because we want to feel better. We fight and argue with ourselves. We kind of slip into a fantasy world of should have, could have, if onlys, because we like it there and we feel that it would be better if it was this. But unfortunately what happens is our brains know. Our brains know that that's not the truth, that wasn't real, that the trauma, the abuse, the pain, that which did happen is what is real and what we need to deal with and what we need to focus on. We can't keep avoiding it, because the longer we keep avoiding it, the longer it's going to take for us to heal, because we're not seeing it for what it is. We're not accepting it. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, no, of course I accept it. I know it. I understand it. But you're not, because there is a resistance. There is a resistance against it. This, oh, if only, it should have. That all those thoughts is you resisting it. It's you fighting with what is. Remember, when we fight with what is, we only lose the battle 100% of the time. So what comes up for us is resentment, frustration, confusion, pain, suffering, and none of these emotions help us. This is what I learned quite a while ago is called dirty pain. It's pain that doesn't help us. It's pain that isn't there to serve us. And I know this is probably going to sit uncomfortably for some people, but there is pain that does serve us, and there is pain that does help us become better versions of ourselves. And all we want to do is feel better, right? So often I know I sat and I've listened to clients sit and go, I just want to feel better. I just want to feel good. I just want to feel happy. I just want to know what it's like to feel normal. I just want to have whatever. Again, we are falling into the trap of wishing. I wish things were different. Okay, that is pain right there. That thought sounds good. That thought sounds positive. That thought sounds strong. And you're thinking, well, what's wrong with wishing? And the problem is behind it is resistance to what is, and attached to that resistance is pain. And so it is so important in your journey to just be honest with yourself. Write down what happened. What is your story? Who showed up badly? Who hurt you? What went on? All right, acknowledge it, because what you've done is you've ignored it for so long. You've pretended it didn't happen. You don't want to maybe put them in a bad light. Or maybe you've made it feel something horrible about you. Maybe you've made it mean something terrible about how you are. We want to try and drop all the judgment, drop all the criticism, all the frustration, all the resentment, all the ugly, and we just want to get to the soul. The grieving, the pain, the sorrow, because that is what we need to sit with. That is what we need to heal. All these other emotions are just emotions that we just keep putting on top, that we just keep layering, so that we don't have to deal with the pain, so that we don't have to deal with the discomfort. So maybe for some, we don't have to deal with the knowledge that our parents made terrible mistakes. They made terrible decisions. They did horrible things. This is not, and I've said this so often, if you've been following me for a while, I'm sure you would have heard me say this before. This is not about throwing people under the bus. I can't tell you how many years I avoided healing. I avoided seeing and acknowledging my pain, because as soon as I did, and the codependent brain would step up in denial, right? There is a whole video on codependency and denial. And I would make excuses. I would find a way to not look at it, not see it, not validate it, not understand it, because the child in me felt immense guilt about throwing anybody under the bus. They're my parents at the end of the day. They were my caregivers. And how can I do that to them? All right? It's not about that. It's about looking at them as human beings who made big mistakes, who had big pains, who had big heartaches, who showed up badly, and accepting it for what it is. All right? I make mistakes. I have knee-jerk reactions. I often respond coming from my traumas. Okay? And so I am not perfect. They are not perfect. and it's about accepting us as just being human beings struggling with messy emotions, messy thoughts, in a messy world, trying to make sense of our lives. All anybody wants to do is feel better about who they are. And I know that you feel that by denying it, not looking at it, not accepting it, that it helps you feel better. But you've got to sit with you. You've got to be with you. Acceptance is not about condoning. Acceptance is about making peace. Peace with what was, peace with what is. Only when you are able to do that and allow the grieving to happen and the sorrow to be felt, will you be able to really heal and eventually move on. Stronger, better version of you. So thank you. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any topics that you would like me to cover, please do put in the comment section. And as always, I love to hear from you.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Emotional Resilience Coach. Please, quickly hit that subscribe button. It will save your life, I promise. Like and share this video and hit that notification bell.